Okay, so what I want to do is I want to help you guys create a start file for these kinematic diagrams using AutoCAD, and we're going to continue to use AutoCAD throughout. So I'm going to double click on my AutoCAD, and once we get in here, what it's going to ask you for is it's going to ask you, like to get started on a file, and we're going to open up kind of that standard template that's called just the generic ACAD template. So if we go up to the upper left-hand corner here and we want to start a new file, it's then going to come up with these, kind of a standard list of templates that AutoCAD has. If you had me for tech drafting, I don't think anybody in here did. I don't think so. We created templates. You might have with, whoever you would have had. I think Ryan teaches it as well, or Tom. But we're just going to start with the generic ACAD because then we're going to set up some layers together so that they're all kind of the same as we go forward. So we're going to go to ACAD generic and then hit open. This is just a generic inch template that AutoCAD has out there. You're going to notice if we go up to the layers here, the only layer that they have assigned is the 0 layer. So we're going to add some layers right away here that we're going to continue to use. So I'm going to go over to layer properties on the left-hand side here. I'm going to click on that and the dialog box should open up. And if I left click over the top here to highlight the 0, I'm just going to hit enter. So it starts a new layer for me. Okay. And my first layer is going to be object. Okay. So I'm going to do object. I like everything to be in caps. You don't have to if you don't want to. So this is going to be the object line layer. I'm going to keep it as a color white. The line type will remain continuous, but my line weight is going to change from default. I'm going to go down here to 0.5 millimeters. So it's going to be just a thicker line weight. Okay. Object line layer. I'm going to hit OK. We're going to notice that that's going to be thicker. So I'm going to reselect on object, hit enter so I can do a new layer again. And my next one is going to be hatch. Okay. HATCH. The color for this one is going to be yellow. So I'm going to click on that white color and I'm going to switch it to just the regular yellow. You don't want to go up into the top and make it something special yellow. Just make it a regular yellow. And we're going to hit OK. The line type is going to remain continuous, but we're going to put the line weight back to default at the top here. So from 0.5, go to default. Okay, so that'll be a thinner line weight. Reselect that, hit enter, and we're going to put notes. It's going to be our line, is going to be our layer name. And then our color this time is going to be the magenta. Okay, in the middle here. And then just the regular magenta. Okay. And then we're going to keep it continuous and default is fine. And then the last one we're going to do is we're going to do notes and then enter, and this is going to be dimensions. Although we're not going to use dimensions immediately, going forward when we have to figure out displacements and kind of measure things, then we will. And then the magenta and the continuous remain. Okay. We're not worried about hidden lines. We're not worried about center lines. Remember, this is layout work that we're going to be doing only. So we're not releasing this to production, if you would. We're just using it to kind of obtain the information that we need. So once we have that done, we can just hit the X and that's going to be out. And then now what we're going to do is I'm going to change my layer to the object line layer. And we're going to create a standard frame member. Okay. Now my cursor is a different color here. I'm going to go in, I'm going to change it to something else. I don't like the way it looks right now. I'm going to go to options. You don't have to change yours. I'm just going to change mine so it's easier for you guys to see. Display now. Displays, colors. There it is. Crosshairs. I'm going to make it yellow so it's easier for you to see. Apply and close. Apply. Okay. All right. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create my frame member. So to do so, I'm going to start by just placing a circle. Okay, so I'm going to do a circle, center radius, and in the middle, wherever, random place, I'm going to left click. And my radius is going to be, I want to make a circle that's a diameter of 3/4 of an inch. But so that would mean that the radius is going to be 0.375, right? Half of that. So my radius, I'm going to enter 0.375, enter. So it's kind of small. I'm going to zoom in on it a little bit. Okay. And the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to draw horizontal lines straight down. So I'm going to make this a frame member with the frame at the bottom. So I'm going to do a line. I'm going to put on my ortho at the bottom, or you can hit F8 to toggle that on. And now, depending on what you have for your object snaps, if you get close to the quadrant, okay, on the side of the triangle, you might see this diamond shape activate, okay? If you don't, you want to do a shift right mouse button, and all your object snaps are going to come up, and you want to go down to find where quadrant is. And if you click on that, then wherever the quadrant is, it's going to focus on just finding the quadrant. You can left click that. Okay, so left click it when it activates. And then we're going to go down, and we're going to go down a 1/2 inch. Okay, so 0.5, enter. And then you're going to have a vertical line. Hit escape or enter. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing on the right-hand side. So another line, activate the quadrant, and you're going to go down 0.5, enter. You have to activate the quadrant. Shift right mouse button, quadrant. Okay. All right, so then now what we're going to do is we're going to trim away the bottom portion of the circle. Now, if you're having problems, I can help you during lab to get this set up, but for right now, we'll kind of go through. So now I want to trim away that. The trim function is to the left of our eraser up here. So we're going to trim that away. And then you can just click on the portion that you want to get rid of. Okay, so left click, hit enter, and you can continue to hit more things if you wanted to, but we just want to get rid of that one part. Okay. 1/2 inch. Yeah, so it was if you would, a 3/4 inch diameter circle and then 1/2 inch down for each one of those. All right. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create my horizontal line here. All right. So I'm going to do my line command. I'm going to activate the end here, but I'm not going to click, and I'm going to go to the left so that it goes in line. You can see that green, and you're just going to go to the left of it, and then you're going to go back to the right, and kind of, again, proportional to either side. Doesn't have to be an exact dimension. So something that looks about like this, and I'm going to turn on my line width so that you can see that. Okay. So I'll give you a second to just kind of catch up and see what we have here. Okay. Zoom recording. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to add the circle in the middle for the pin connection, and then we're going to also add the hatching on the bottom. So the circle in the middle first. So we're just going to do another circle. So circle, center, radius, and then I want to get to the center. So kind of, if you would, activate the arc, and then you should get to the center here. If you need to do a shift right mouse button and find the center, go ahead and do that. And then that way it'll activate that center and just focus on that. Once you get that, you're going to left click in the middle there. And this time we want a diameter of 1/8 inch. So that means our radius would be 0.0625. Okay, so right about that size. All right. Now what we're going to do is inside that circle, we're going to put a solid hatch. So I'm going to change my layer to the hatch layer. Okay. And then I'm going to click on the hatch function, which is just to the right of the arc at the bottom here. Okay. I'm going to click on that. And then I'm going to go to the inside of that inner circle. Okay, I'm going to left click. Now, right now, the ANSI 31 is activated, and I just want to go over to the left side and click on solid. That's all. Okay, because we want that to be a solid center. Okay, and once that's done, you can just hit the green check mark or enter, and then it's going to be in place. Okay, I'm going to kind of zoom out. Now, whenever we do hatch, we have to have an enclosed area for which to put the hatch. And we want to add hatch to the bottom down here to show, like, if you would, that frame anchored. So what we need to do is we need to add a rectangle. So I am going to change my layer. I'm not going to use the object line layer. I want to use the 0 layer because I'm going to end up deleting this rectangle. Okay, that's why. I'm just going to use it for the purpose of putting the hatch in place. So I'm going to go to that 0 layer and I'm going to go to the rectangle function here. Okay. So I'm going to left click. And so the rectangle, you want to specify one of your corners. I'm going to start in the left-hand side of that line that I created. And then I'm going to go down and I want to put it in line. So activate that corner without clicking and go straight down. And you want your rectangle to be about this big. Okay, about this big. And I'm going to left click. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my hatch layer, right? I'm going to do the hatch command. And I'm going to select inside that rectangle, but you'll notice that it wants to be solid, right? Because that was the last hatch that I used. I can left click here, but I want to go back to ANSI 131. Okay. And then all we're going to do is we're going to hit OK. And then I'm going to reselect that rectangle and I'm going to hit the delete key. And now I just want to have kind of that open hatch underneath. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. So in the book, as you know, they showed shading, but because we're going to be using CAD, we're going to use the hatching. Okay. So right now, any questions? All right. So this is our frame member. Now, before we add the other ones, why don't we name this what we want to call it? And we're going to call it kinematic start. Okay. Because it's going to be for our kinematic diagrams and it's our start file. We're going to build a couple more things on here. So I'm going to do a file, save as. Now, navigate to where you want to recall this. If you're in the room right now, okay, you won't be able to recall this again wherever you save it because they do like a wipeout of the information every night on the computers. So this is where you want to have your flash drive and you want to save this on your flash drive. Okay, so I'm going to navigate to where I want to save it. And I'm going to go to mechanical design courses, kinematics, basic mechanisms, and I'm going to call this kinematic _ start _1, or I'm going to say 2025. There we go. And I'm going to hit save. Okay. All right. So you'll notice at the top here now, it's kinematic start file for you or whatever you called it so that you can recall it. So every time that you start a new drawing, you'll pull up this one and then you'll resave it as whatever it is that you want to save it as. Okay, we're going to add a couple more elements here. So this is just our frame member. Okay. The next element that we want to add is going to be a slider, okay? Because a slider is going to be a popular one. You're not going to use it on everyone, but you're gonna be using a slider. So what I want to do for my slider is I already have this part done, right? So I am going to do a copy. Where's my copy? Here it is, right here underneath move. There's copy. And I'm going to put a window, left click, don't drag, and a left click. And I'm just going to copy the horizontal line and the hatching from my frame. Okay. Once I have those two elements copied, I'm going to hit enter and it's going to ask me for my base point and I can just grab one of the points here and I'm just going to horizontally left click and then hit escape or enter. And now this is going to be, if you would, the horizontal constraint for what would be a slider. Okay. Does that make sense? All right. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my object line layer and I'm going to use the rectangle function. And I am going to, I don't want to go on the midpoint here. I just want to go somewhere on the left and I'm going to create a rectangle that's about this size. Okay, proportionally again. So I think it's about a 1/2 inch tall and about 1 1/4 wide. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, we're just representing a slider, a rectangle. So I'm going to left click there. So about that tall. That makes sense? Now what I want to do is I want to find the middle of this rectangle. So to do that, very easy. I'm going to draw 2 lines, one from either corner, and I'm going to be deleting these two lines. I just want to find the center of that rectangle, okay? And the intersection of the two diagonal lines here is going to be that midpoint, if you would, or the center of that rectangle. Now I'm going to draw my little circle that's going to represent the pin connection to the middle of my slider. So I'm going to do a circle. I'm going to go to what would be the intersection. And my radius is going to be 0.0625, so that it's an 1/8 of an inch diameter. And once I have that in there, I'm going to now delete these two lines because I don't need them anymore, okay? Because my circle is at the center. And then I'm going to hatch into the middle of that, a solid hatch into the middle. I want to go back to solid here and then hit OK. And that is my representation of a slider. Okay. Once you have that in place, we're going to do File, Save, because I already have it called Kinematic Start. And now I have a frame and I have a slider if I need it. Okay. Okay, the last thing we're going to do is we're going to add, oh no, not the last thing. The second to last thing we're going to do is we're going to add a pin connection. So the ends of our, or wherever we have a pin connection, we are going to be showing a circle with a filled in hatch. So all I'm going to do for that is I am going to copy, whether it's off of the frame or if it's off of my slider, I just want to copy that inside circle. Okay, so you want to put a window around that, hit enter, and then I just want to move it from there, maybe like into the middle here, so somewhere else. This way now I have a pin joint that I don't have to keep drawing again and again and again. So each one of the elements I want here is a frame, a pin joint, and a slider. Okay. Now the last thing I'm going to add are going to be my labels. Okay. My labels, I'm going to change my layer to notes. Okay. And here I'm going to add my letters with my circles and my numbers. I'm sorry, my numbers with my circles and my letters. So I'm going to go up to text, arrow down, and you just want to do a multi-line text. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to left click to make a random box. Okay. And in here now, what's going to happen is it is going to, start doing like a text editing mode. And all I want to do is I'm going to start with my numbers. I'm going to put the number 1 in here. Okay. And then I'm going to left click outside of it. And if I look at that number, it looks like proportionally it's a good size to what I have here. So I'm just going to leave it that way. If you need to adjust that, okay, you can go to scale, select it, enter, do a base point, and then you can make this larger or smaller. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. So I don't need to. I feel like that size is good. But if you need to do that, that's okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a circle around this letter. So I'm going to kind of get in closer. I'm going to stay on the notes layer, and I'm going to do a circle center radius. And I'm going to kind of estimate eyeball where the center of that number 1 is. I'm going to click, and then I'm going to put a circle around it, something like that. Give it a little bit of room. Okay. Now I'm going to copy this 3 times. Okay. So I'm going to hit copy. I'm going to select the number and the circle, hit enter. My base point is going to be directly above it, and I'm going to do 4 total items here. Most often, almost all of our mechanisms are going to be what we call 4-bar mechanisms. So we're going to have 1 through 4 is going to be a very popular value. Now what we're going to do is on the second one, we're going to double click on that, backspace, change that to number 2, and left click outside. Don't hit enter. Then double click on the next number 1, backspace 3, left click outside. And then double click on the last one, backspace, and put number 4, and then left click. Okay. So those are going to be what we use for the labels of each one of our links, okay? So again, this is kind of nice because in our start file, we don't have to keep redoing this, okay, each time we open up. Now, the last thing we're going to do is we're going to add letters. So this time I'm going to copy just the numbers. Don't do the circles because remember when I label my joints, it's just the letters. So I'm going to do, once I have all those 4 of those done, I'm going to hit enter, left click, and I'm just going to go straight up above, left click, and then we just need 1 copy of these. Now I'm going to double click on my number 1 and I am going to give that the letter A. Make sure it's a capital A. And then left click outside. Double click on number 2, backspace B. Double click on number 3, C. Left click outside. And then number 4, D. Left click outside. Okay. And once you have that done, you can hit File, Oopsie, File, I just want to do Save. File, Save to that kinematic start. And then you have your start file for each one of your kinematic diagrams.